Just going to be slowing us down a bit more. No, just like that. And there we go! Look at that! A perfect rendezvous. No issues at all. Just next to the Munar surface. Alright everybody, hello and welcome back to yet another episode of Kerbal Space Program. With me, Spacefish, back here at the Kerbal Space Center, but that is not where we are going to start off today's episode. Because if you all remember, if we have a quick look out here at the tracking station, what was that icon? What is that? Interesting. Site XJLB. I am confused. This is new. It seems new. Do you guys know what these are? I would be very, very interested to know, because I've got absolutely no clue. So if you've got a clue, definitely please make sure to let me know down below in the comments. That said, as you all may remember, we did get Jeb out to the moon in the last episode, and he's now sitting right here happily orbiting away at the moon. And we now kind of have a task to match the orbital panes of these two spacecraft, so that Jeb can, well, I mean for one, you know, he has to do a spacewalk, so he could probably do that right now, but we're just going to do it when the actual spacecraft is close to him. And also, we will have to rendezvous these two. That's actually another part of the campaign goal. This one right here, actually kind of interesting, because it looks as though this satellite is actually connected, even though it's on the dark side of the moon, which, yeah, interesting. But we will have to now match these two orbital panes, and I think overall the plan was to firstly burn all the fuel that we have on this thing, because we're not really planning to retrieve it anyway, so it can just chill out here with no fuel left. Eventually that will be fine, but we'll just use all these 860 meters a second to kind of try and align our orbital panes and get this thing as close to Jeb as possible, so that we can hopefully use all the fuel in Jeb's pod to get him back home somewhat safely. Hope there's not going to be any rescue operations necessary or anything. Fingers crossed right there. But for the time being, let's try and do this. I would like to center my camera on this thing. Not possible at the moment, it seems. Kind of weird, but okay, that's the way it is. Good thing being that the two orbital panes cross at points where this satellite should be connected to Kerbin, so shouldn't be too hard to get something going here in the ways of actually aligning the orbital panes. Now the control node is locked, which may be due to us not being connected at the moment. I'm kind of thinking it is. So let's just kind of go ahead and get him into connection range again with the Kerbal Space Center, and then we can hopefully get something going in the ways of an orbital maneuver. What I'm also not quite sure about, I'll have to say, is like the difference between apoapsis and periapsis between the two. I think we're not perfectly on point there, but for the time being, I think we can leave it that way, because we'll probably need to tinker with that slightly anyway, so we can, you know, get the two to catch up to each other, or, well, one to catch up to the other more than anything. So let's add a maneuver here now. That seems to work, and we will have to skew this by quite a bit. So that will be the pane that we want, and that's already a whole lot of meters a second right there. And that does also end up skewing the apoapses quite the way we do not want it to be. So we will... oh god. That was not intended, and I think I just kind of totally messed it up. Let's redo this just in case. I think I somewhat fixed it, but I don't want to risk messing it up. Can I get rid of this thing, please? How do I get rid of this now? Sometimes these maneuver controls are absolutely bananas for me. Wait, oh right, this is orbit, this is the maneuver. Okay, so that's the way that we can get rid of it if we don't get the X button right here. So let's try that again. Now, first thing we want to do yet again is kind of adjust the orbital pane, and that should be pretty much the same one. Yep, that looks good. And now we need to deorbit again to keep the apoapsis in, hopefully, and that totally messes up the maneuver again. Please don't make it too weird and complicated for me, if possible. It's really hard keeping that 2 in line, isn't it? Not quite there. Need a bit more of this. Pane still seems to be somewhat pretty much the same. Okay. And the orbit paths seem to align very nicely too. Okay, so that'll be our planned maneuver. 350 meters a second needed out of 860, so that seems pretty alright to me. Let's go and get ourselves onto the maneuver node, and hopefully, if everything goes to plan, we will be in the same pane in just a little bit, and then afterwards we'll have to, I think we'll have to catch up to this one, yeah, so need to deorbit a bit more after that one, and we'll catch up and then, well, alright, cool. Anyways, for the time being, node is going to be in 3 minutes, so let's fast forward ever so slightly. Gonna try not overdo it too bad. We can watch the moon in the meantime. Look at that. I absolutely love the beauty of the new graphics updates. I think this looks stunning. I just can't stop saying it, guys, but I'm really looking forward to KSP2 so much. If KSP1 already starts looking this good, how good will the other one be? That said, let's quickly go and burn. That should be just the right timing right there. Fingers crossed. Another 3, 2, 1, 0. And let's slightly get the last few meters a second in. Perfect. Okay, so that is looking rather good. I am pretty happy with that. Look at this. Cool. So, now, we will of course need to catch up to Munar Magic Mark. Munar Magic? Is that really what this vehicle is called? Did I call it that? Like, I'm pretty sure we took an old design to get Jeb up there that we already used before in some other episode, but I can't recall it being called that way. Very interesting, to say the least. That said, I am actually not too happy with this. Wait, no, let's not do that, because if we do this, we would have to... Actually... No, this is actually fine, because if we deorbit here, we can realign the speed when we get up to the periapsis, which is always kind of facing Kerbin, at least for the near future. So I think this is actually a good point for deorbiting overall. Well, deorbiting meaning I'm just going to slightly get it inwards for the time being. Let's also set this as target now, so we can kind of check how much of a deorbit we will need. So, intersect 1 is going to be 44.8 kilometers. There's no intersect 2. Ah, wait, okay, so that's the first round, pretty much. Okay, we can actually make it in the first one, that's kind of nice. So this... I think let's do that. Actually, I would... Do we have RCS on this thing? I don't think so, right? So that's going to be a bit hard. Okay, so we've got a separation of 1.7 kilometers, relative speed of 6.9 meters a second. It's not the optimal point for us to meet at, I'll have to say. I mean, I could go for another round, but I'm not quite sure. I'm not seeing a second intersect at the moment, so that's what I'm kind of not really liking. I'm not sure, maybe that's due to my mission control not being that great or something. But I don't have a second intersect calculated, so I'm kind of worried that if I go for 2 rounds, I'm just going to be all the way ahead again, and that's also not really what I want to achieve. So I would rather just take this, be 1.7 kilometers apart, and then kind of try and adjust manually afterwards, boosting myself slightly over there, and then just perfectly aligning speeds and everything. So I think let's do that. How did I... okay, so this is how I change my relative speeds again. For the time being, I'm just going to stay in orbit speed. And we are going to go and get ourselves towards the target. 0.2 seconds of a burn. Okay, wow. I'm just going to have to go for a slight poof there. 9.4 meters a second only needed. I'm going to have Delta V left in this stage after all this action. Which is kind of interesting, kind of crazy. Maybe I could even get the satellite back, I don't know. The low Delta V needed out here where Moon's gravity is really not that crazy. It's kind of nice, you know, it's working pretty nicely so far, so I am overall pretty happy. Let's get this down back to 1 times speed out here at 18 seconds though. And I'll probably go for like a slight poof at like 5 seconds or something, just slowly deorbiting. I don't want to go too hard here. Okay, that should be somewhat good, I hope. Intersect, let's see. Can I get rid of my maneuver now? Intersect is going to be at 2.7 kilometers. Okay, so not quite ideal, but still pretty good, I would say. Something for a start, I hope. So, we will just be getting ourselves over there. I'll switch to target speed already. And then when we're out here, I'm going to match speeds first. Going to boost myself over there, and then I'm going to match speeds again, pretty much. That's going to be the idea. So, well, it's going to be another orbit before we have got Rendezvous going out here. But as you can see now, with the lower periapsis, we're nicely catching up to the Munar Magic Mark 1, and then we should hopefully be somewhat close, somewhat soon. Now, what I'm kind of wondering about, yet again, is will we see the target out in space? Because I am used to you getting a marker of where the target is in space, but I'm not seeing one out here yet again. I really don't quite get why. Maybe that's also somewhat connected to me just not having the appropriate upgrades needed. Is that it? I kind of feel that may be what it is, because I don't know, maybe they changed something between like all the versions that I missed here. Could also be that. But from my experience, you should usually get a yellow marker somewhere in space of where the actual spacecraft is. So I'm really not quite sure what the issue is there. If you all know, please make sure to let me know down below in the comments. I myself have unfortunately not really got much of a clue. That said, where are we now at? The sun is coming up. We should start to be able to see this thing. Maybe not as much. I mean, the final stage is not really that big. Should be somewhere right there-ish. Actually, maybe there-ish. I'm not quite sure. We will, anyways, have to kind of wait a bit longer. It will be a minute before we get to our closest separation, so I'm just going to speed things up a bit more. Got a bit of render lag there. Maybe that means that it just actually rendered in, which would be weird because it should be rendered all the time, though. Do you guys see it? I don't see it. It's probably a small, tiny black dot somewhere in the middle of nowhere. I have got no clue where it's at. Okay, let's kind of just speed things up in here for a second. Our apoapsis is actually lower as well. Ooh, it's not too awesome, but okay. It's all fixable somewhat to some degree, I suppose. So, relative speed will be at 8 meters a second, and it will be in 1 minute, so I think it's time to slow down here. We will go to the deorbit markers, because this is now not in relation to the moon, but it is in relation to the target. So if I go to the deorbit marker right now, that's going to help me match my speeds with our target, which I still have got no clue where the target is actually at. It should be right there-ish. Do you all see it? If you see it right now, let me know down below in the comments. I've got no clue where it's at. I mean, I've got a clue where it should be at. I just don't see it. Interesting, but look at that. So beautiful as well. Kerbin, the sun in the background, the lunar surface. Absolutely love it. Okay, that said, 20 seconds till intersect. I think it is probably about time to match our speeds right now. So, let's do just that, I think. Alright. Whoa. and that was a bit too much, but that's fine. So the target should be right there. I've got absolutely no clue where it is, but we will just be giving it a little boosh, and we'll be burning at it. And we can see the distance right here at the very least. It's kind of all we'll get right here. But I'll go at it with like, yeah, say like 8 meters a second. Maybe a bit more. And then we will go retrograde again, just to make sure we can brake when we need to. And as you can see right here now, we are at a separation of 0.6 kilometers now, which is a lot better. We will be fast forwarding to that separation point as well. And I need to make sure that we actually finish this maneuver before we lose the signal to the probe again, because that would be very, very bad. So let's hope that everything's going to be going somewhat fine in this regard. What I am kind of worried about here is I'm not sure. I mean, I don't think the paths should be crossing, but we should probably watch out for that regardless. So once we're at 30 seconds, I'm going to stop here. Cool. Where's my target? Where's it at? I don't see it. I just can't see this darn thing. Can you guys see it? I've got absolutely no freaking clue where it's at. Anyways. Oh, I think it's behind us. I am going to slow down in relation to the target again, just to make sure we're not crashing into anything here. Okay, that's pretty decent. Now, target should be somewhere there. I don't see it. Ah, whatever. Okay, so it should be right. Oh, I think I see it. No, I think that's just a black dot somewhere in the middle of nowhere again. I'm confused. Anyways, slight boost towards it this time only. We are getting closer, not good enough of a boost, I don't think, though. Is that good enough of a boost? It's still 500 meters away, so you know it is probably still quite a small. Oh, is it there? I think it's that, is it? Kinda looks like it. Okay, I'll get us up to 6 meters a second, then we'll go retrograde again so we can brake whenever you need to, as always. And I think that's it. I think I'm finally seeing that thing, and holy moly, that's actually small. I mean, if you guys are watching this in like 50-inch televisions, you've probably been screaming at me all the time. But me on my tiny, teeny 23-inch monitor, I have not been seeing this thing at all. That is such a tiny thing in the middle of nowhere, but I think I see it now, so that's great news. Speaking about intercepts, so 0.0 kilometers. Okay, this will be rather close, so I think we can probably call this very soon then. Here it comes. Great stuff. Also looks like we're not totally headed to crash into it, so that's always good news, you know, slightly scooting alongside. Very, very happy with that overall. Just going to be slowing us down a bit more. No, just like that. And there we go. Look at that. A perfect rendezvous. No issues at all. Just next to the Munar surface. Absolutely brilliant. I love it. I love it. It's been a bunch of work, but we made it. We made it within one lunar orbit as well. Didn't have any connection issues or anything. Sick. Perfect. But yeah, you can see, right? There is no yellow marker on this thing. I'm kind of confused by that. I think it may be our tracking station just being bad. But okay, that said, let's go and switch to the Munar Magic. Let's see how Jeb's doing. We haven't seen him in quite a while. Hey, buddy. How are you? Are you ready for a little spacewalk, my dude? Let's see our contracts here. Oh, we've actually got it done already. He was on a spacewalk, was he? Huh, interesting. Well, yeah, so our target is actually finished. We've got everything done that we wanted to do. I've got some data in here, which is a lot of science. That's a lot of science. I could get it out of there, which I maybe potentially should. And I'm just kind of thinking right now, wait a second. How do I close this? Right, like that again. Okay, so I'm just kind of thinking right now, oh, these vehicles are too close. I can't switch over like this. Usually you can also do something like this, but I can't seem to be finding that. So let's go to the Space Center real quick and switch using that. So what I really quickly want to check out is, as you guys could see, there was also a research bay on our little probe. So I'm kind of hoping, wherever it is, this one I think, I'm kind of hoping that maybe potentially we can just use that for research. Oh ho, materials study while in space near the moon. Wait. Didn't we have something different in the Munar magic? That seemed like it was less science. Oh, that's perfect. That's space high over the moon. So what I'm going to do now... Oh, that's sick. Okay, so let's do that. So we're going to EVA with Jeb here. And while we can't reset the experiments, what we can now do is get the RCS on. And then you will try and go down to this thing here. And we'll grab the research from there, if we can avoid crashing into it. That'll be a good start though. So we grab the research from here. Hello, Jib. Okay, let's oh god. I'm always trying to hit space instead of shift. That's an issue. Okay, so let's collect the data. Remove the data. Perfect, Jeb. Jeb's got the data. Do we have any other data collection modules on here? Doesn't look like it, does it? Wait, can I turn on lights or something? How did lights work on his helmet? I'm sure there was a button, I just can't remember it. Is there a button here as well? Nope, unfortunately not. EVA propellant's actually not too much of it, so gotta watch out for that too. Does not look like there's any more data modules on it. Okay, so we're gonna head back to the spaceship then, and we're gonna store this data in our little trusty storage container. Isn't that gonna be great? I'm really happy we brought that, and then maybe we can also store the data from the other thing. I'm not quite sure if there's like a storage limit. Maybe I should check that out before doing it though. Kind of afraid of storing data in there when... Wait, how do I store data? Oh, here. Store experiments. Okay. So this currently says take data 1. Now, what I would like to do is actually take the data from research base here too and transfer it to there so we don't have any risk of losing this data when this module ends up ripping off or something on entry. And you know, that way I can just ditch it and not care about it before entry. So say I'm going to collect... Actually, I'm not quite sure what this data is all about. Let's just get back into the spaceship for a second here before we collect that data. And check out if that data is from Munar space. If we could potentially get something better, you know. Because I'm not sure we actually did goo data. Oh! Sorry, Jeb. That was the wrong button. But yeah, I'm not actually sure we did goo data from like space near the moon or something. So let's board. Let's SAS. Let's check out what we have out here. So, review data. Space near the moon. Okay, so we can keep that. We've got this thing. Log pressure data. Well, nothing in there. We can log temperature. Nothing in that. Okay, so it's mainly this thing then here. Okay, so I think we can just start with the GUI data because it's really not that worth that much anyway. So if things end up not working out for us in terms of, you know, we don't have the storage and, you know, and we somehow end up losing the data that way, then it was really not that much data. And if it ends up working out and we do have a bit of storage, we can just carry over that other data as well. So let's collect the data from this thing and go over to our storage container and see if we can actually store some more data out here. If we can actually make it close enough. Store. Okay, So that looks like it works. That's cool. Do I really only need one storage container for all the data that I get, or is it then eventually full? I hope it won't be full eventually, but let's see. Going to collect the data from this thing as well. And we are going to... the thing is, I always try to control Jeb like in Space Engineers. I always try to go with C and spacebar. It's slightly confusing, if you all know. We've been playing a lot of Space Engineers lately on the streams. It's been really fun, but that doesn't help. Okay, there we go. Cool. That's all the data stored that we ever had. Perfect. Absolutely super happy with that. Let's make it back into the spacecraft before we run out of EVA propellant, which is apparently not going to happen anytime soon anyways. But out we go. And I'm still not sure how to actually tilt him while in flight like that. I'm pretty sure there was a way, but I'm not quite aware. So if you all do know, please make sure to let me know down below in the comments. But here we go, back in our trusty little stage. With all the data that we ever had stored up here. Yeah, perfect. Everything checked off. Not landed on the moon yet, unfortunately. But that is definitely soon to come. That's very, very much on the list. So, yeah, that's going to be something for the next few episodes, I hope, depending on what contracts I get. But for the time being, it's going to be time to finally head home for Jeb, who's already very happy and enthusiastic to see all his Kerbal buddies back again. Or not, you know, maybe not as much. You never quite know with Jeb. But with that said, that's going to be something that we're then going to take care of in the next episode. So next episode, we're going to head home, going to hopefully recover all this nice fancy data that we managed to gather on all these trips. We're hopefully going to research new things and going to gain a good bunch of money. And then we're going to head on to new adventures. So, I hope for the time being that you all very much enjoyed this episode. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button down below. And if you're new around here and would like to stay around for more, definitely also don't forget to hit that subscribe button right down below, as well as the bell icon right next to it to stay up to date on all the future upcoming episodes. That said, as always, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you'll have a good weekend, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.